I was at lunch a couple of weeks ago with a few old timers from the church, and they were telling me about some of their best memories with the congregation. They had to do with a mission trip that the youth and adults used to take regularly down to a place called Pippa Passes. And the community here in Ann Arbor was really connected to the community in Pippa Passes, and they would get together Christmas presents for these people in Pippa Passes, and they would come down and do work projects with their homes and in their community, and they set up different kinds of pen pal stuff between the youth and the two communities, and it was a really wonderful relationship and a way in which this congregation was able to connect and serve another community a little ways off that just didn't have some of the resources that we did here. It's a powerful story because it reminded me of the first time that I encountered Journey of Faith, which was about 4 years ago at a General Assembly, a large gathering of disciples from around the country. And I was at a Faith and Justice, Peace and Justice breakfast. And this congregation was winning an award for the fact that their youth were doing so much justice work in the community. There was a little video played in which youth from the congregation explained their mission, and they were transforming the basement of this church into a laundry and shower facility for homeless folks from this very community to be able to use to get clean themselves and their clothing. They were also working on putting together a safe space for teens who were LGBT in the community. And so both of those projects were embraced by the congregation, and so the entire basement in the building where we are now is transformed for both of those purposes: a safe space and a clean space. And so the connection then between youth and mission and service, it has traveled many generations of this church and is such an important part of who this church is, this idea of a past that calls this church forward. It's really powerful, especially for me today, because about a week ago, a gentleman came into the church, and he said he just was off the street and knocked on the doors of the church, and he asked me what kinds of resources did the community have for someone who was homeless and didn't have a job. He had traveled from another part of the country, and I was his first point of contact in Ann Arbor, and so I set him up with a resource sheet listing all of the local shelters and all of the local food banks and clothing places where you can get clothing for free. And I told him that we had a laundry and shower facility in our basement, and he was a little, I think, overwhelmed with the amount of resources, and circled a couple of the numbers and put them in his pocket and thanked me and left. And then just yesterday he came back and he said, I've been able to set up an appointment with shelter, and I've been able to get some food, and I've talked to some other churches about other things, but I haven't been able to find a place where I can do my laundry. Can I come back and do my laundry? And it is so powerful that not only does this community try to serve, but it tries to serve in a way where there is a need that's not being met otherwise in the community. So it's really powerful that our youth throughout generations have been hearing about needs in the world and trying to meet them. And I am so delighted and honored to be part of a congregation that does that kind of work.